Hello there everybody and welcome back to my F1 2021 My Team Career Mode. We are now at Season 3, Race 18. This is the Japanese Grand Prix. If you haven't seen the last one from Singapore, I urge you to go back and check that one out before you come back and check out this latest instalment. Welcome to Suzuka then. Singapore was just a race to forget, a day of disaster. If it could go wrong, it did go wrong. That is just one sentence I could use to sum up Singapore, really. But we're aiming to get back on track here, at least be on the podium. This is a track that's been quite difficult for me previously, but I'm hoping that this time round we can get a decent result. And I am in need of it, because although I do have a championship lead, it's not by as much as I would like. Right, Q1, we are through that by the skin of our teeth. Now we're in Q2 and I am pushing for my worth to get into the next part of qualifying, which will be Q3. Again, this is not my favourite circuit by a long shot. I do tend to struggle for pace around here, but I think this time round we have got it pretty nailed down and we've managed to get through Q2 quite nicely there with that lap. And now we're in Q3 and I am aiming, if I can get on the second or third row, I'll be happy, because it's a long race, 27 laps, anything can and usually does happen around here, and I'm really amazed by my drift action there. That was some pretty cool drift action. I think players of Dirt 5 would be so proud of that. Anyway, Charles Leclerc has taken the fastest time, and I think we can go even quicker still as we come round the final chicane, disrespecting the bollards as we do so. Heading across the line, what's it going to be? It is the fastest time of the session, and with that we have got pole position with Pierre Gasly starting second.
We'll be back tomorrow as we head into the Grand Prix. Welcome along then to the magnificent Suzuka International Circuit, a stone's throw away from Issa Bay in the beautiful Japanese countryside. What surprises lie in wait for us today in the Japanese Grand Prix? A lap of this historic racetrack covers 3.6 miles, and it's the only time during the season that we race on a figure-of-8 racetrack. The drivers can expect some intense G-forces through the 18 corners on offer here as they experience some of the highest average apex speeds on the Formula One calendar. And keep an eye out for overtakes going into the final chicane. Anthony Davidson, a lot of talented drivers out on the track today, but what will stand out for you?
Well, Crofty, my focus is 100% on the front of the grid. Like you said, we're seeing lots of strong competition across those positions, so it would be super interesting to see the fight for that front spot. Personally speaking, I'm hoping for plenty of overtakes.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. Joker lines up on pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Bottas, Lewis Hamilton and Gasly. They've taken a grid penalty. Perez, Tsunoda, Sainz and Daniel Ricciardo, Vettel, Giovinazzi, Esteban Ocon and Stroll. Norris, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Russell, Nicholas Latifi and Jenson Button, Mick Schumacher, Markelov, Mazepin and Guan Yu Zhou. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Well, an unfortunate grid penalty has befallen Pierre Gasly, but it's pole position here at Suzuka, 27 laps, Max Verstappen right behind us. It's lights out and away we go. I go to cover Max, who gives me a little bit of a nerf, and wow, that's never a good thing, but we have taken P2 and we are right behind Charles Leclerc, who got a great start from P3 to take the lead, and he is starting to stretch away already. So Max Verstappen pitted at the end of lap 2 for reasons unknown. I didn't see what happened, but anyway, it is now me trying to catch Leclerc, but he's starting to get away from me, and I'm trying not to lose too much time to Hamilton behind me as well. So at this stage of the race, I'm just trying to keep pace with Leclerc, but he is long gone. And by lap 5, he has got the gap up to 3 seconds. So he is really stretching away. So at this point, I'm thinking, right, can we consolidate second place in this Grand Prix? Gasly and Hamilton are very close to each other. So I'm hoping that they start battling and that can keep them back just a little bit more. End of lap 5, Leclerc now 2.5 seconds up the road. And the gap has remained fairly static for a little while now, which is a good thing to start with, but we want to get after him. Right, Leclerc pitted a few laps before we did, but he has gone onto the hard tyres. We are deciding to go to the alternative strategy and go soft medium and attack Leclerc that way. And hopefully we can pass him through that manner by having a softer compound of tyre and therefore being able to go that little bit quicker. Although first off we did have Stroll in the way, but he has pitted. Vettel, who's P2, has now pitted, and Ricciardo now leads the way. I've set the fastest lap of the race. I am charging Charles Leclerc down at a vast rate of knots, so the strategy of going onto the medium tyre instead of the hard and going long with the soft has actually worked out in our favour, because the hard tyre being the slowest, it does cost you quite a bit of time round here. And this is a strategy that we're really making work out for us. So Ricciardo now pits, Leclerc leads, I'm in P2. Can I get him this time? Nope, we are not close enough just yet, but we have caught up to the back of the Ferrari, and he is going after his first win of the season, but I am going after him to deny him of that. Gasly has got ahead of Hamilton in the pit stops. So Gasly and Hamilton have swapped places. Perez in P5. So our nearest contenders are in 4th and 5th. Verstappen has long dropped out of it by now, so he's still in the race, but he's not really in the top 5 at this point. And the battle between myself and Leclerc still carries on. I have a look down the inside of the chicane. No way through there. Now we're going to try and get him on the straight using the DRS and overtake. To our good measure, we're now getting right into the rear of Leclerc. We're going to have a look up the inside, and we're going to get the move done before we go into the corner. And that is the race lead of the Japanese Grand Prix that we have taken. And you can see here on the replay, we just get into the slipstream. We're going down the inside, and that is a very straightforward overtake there. And into the lead we go. And we are now going to try and pull away from Leclerc if we can. And Nikita Mazepin has dropped out of the race on lap 19. And you'll see that he's just pulled off to the right there. So Mazepin having an issue with his car. His race isn't going to go on any further. But we're now stretching away from Leclerc quite nicely. And the race has become quite static at this point. And nothing really changed up until the end. So we are leading the way from Leclerc. We have had a great race here. We had a long, soft stint. Leclerc got away from me a bit at the start, but then I switched onto the medium tyres, which was clearly the right way to go, to try and run long on the softs, get on the mediums, get on the better compounded tyre, and we've just been able to go quicker than everybody out there. Gasly has held on to 3rd, but Perez has moved up to 4th. That indicates his intention of getting in on this championship fight. But for us today, we are back on track with a 5th win of the season here at Suzuka. And I am very happy with that. Come on!
Fantastic. It's a brilliant result. Well done.
You can't fault the performance on the track today. A well-deserved victory. Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today. What set them apart from the rest?
Well, this was a real team victory. They put together a solid strategy today that appeared well suited to the conditions out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to
Well, I'm thoroughly exhausted after the excitement of that race, but I'm sure it's nothing compared to our drivers here. They've worked hard to make it up there, and it's great to see them make their way out onto the podium.
Well, that wasn't the most exciting race to commentate on, but it was a much needed win for us, and the 5th of the season, so I'm really happy with that. It was a great drive, we worked the strategy well, and Leclerc in the end having settled for second, but still a great result for him. Pierre Gasly on the podium again, he is having a monster of a season so far. Then it's Perez, Hamilton, Bottas, Sainz, Tsunoda, Ricciardo and Norris rounding out the 10. No idea what happened to our teammate Jenson Button in all of that. I don't think he made the end. And Verstappen then pitting at the end of lap 2. I didn't see what happened to him, but that was unfortunate. But our championship lead is now 43 points to Perez and Verstappen tied. So while it's a safe gap for now, that could all change in the course of a couple of races. But hopefully the championship is in the bag. Well, thank you for watching this race. Don't forget to leave a like and punch the sub button if you're new here and you want to see more content from me. Until the next time, I've been Joe. Thank you for watching. TTFN, guys. It's off for now.